Hi guys, so as you might know, I do always like to read your comments on my videos, and I did recently do one on Manhattan variations, and in that I made a red hook, so you can watch that here if you haven't yet. And the red hook used PUNT E MES, and so one of you lovely people out there did suggest that I then did a video on what else to use PUNT E MES in if you've bought a bottle to make a red hook. It's a very good question, because as much as this lovely thing is quite bitter and is often used more as an amaro in cocktails, it is actually wine-based, so technically a vermouth. So it does mean that you need to refrigerate it once it's opened, and it won't last forever. It does have a heap of sugar and quinine and kind of bitterness, so it holds up quite well for a couple of months, but will start to drop off after that. So here's some nice ideas for you to help you get through that bottle while it's still in its prime. So PUNT E MES actually means 1.5, and the story goes that there was an Italian stockbroker who had a pretty good day because the stock prices rose by 1.5. So he went to the bar to celebrate, and he asked for 1 measure of Carpano vermouth and then half a measure of a bitter quinine liqueur. And therefore the kind of idea for this vermouth but with extra bitterness in it was born, and now we have this delicious product. So to get into it, we're going to do something a little bit interesting. It's actually a PUNT E Margarita. So obviously everybody loves a margie. It's really bright and fresh. It might not seem like the most obvious choice to put in some PUNT E MES, but actually those kind of baking spices and heaps of citrus that you get through this work really nicely with a nice grassy and herbal blanco tequila. So let's get making a PUNT E Margarita. So this recipe I did actually find online in Food and Drink magazine. It didn't have someone specifically for me to give credit to, so apologies if this is your drink out there, please let me know. But we're going to go in with 45 ml of a good quality blanco tequila, 20 ml of our hero PUNT E MES, 15 ml of agave syrup, so either kind of a pourable agave that's made for cocktails, or if you get the thicker kind, just cut it 1-to-1 with water. And then 20 ml of lime juice, which I'm just going to squeeze fresh. And then just 1 dash of orange bitters. So we're kind of leaning more into, orange kind of baking spice flavors here rather than that real citrusy kind of classic margarita style. Then I'm going to shake that on a nice chunk of ice. So good. We're going to do this one on the rocks rather than up. Give it a strain. Then a little orange wedge for garnish. It's a really good example of where kind of a maybe slightly unlikely flavor combination actually really complements each other and elevates the best parts of both. So you're getting heaps of real kind of grassy, fresh tequila flavor. It's really prominent with just like a really nice lingering sort of juicy orange bitterness. Absolute banger. Give it a try. The PUNT E Margarita. So now you know. So the next PUNT E MES drink that we're going to get into is just a super simple highball. It's called the Italian Greyhound, which sounds like a race car, but is actually just a twist on the classic Greyhound, which uses vodka and grapefruit juice. It's particularly good for me here at Goodwater because we have a drink on the menu that uses grapefruit twist, so I always have a lot of grapefruits that look like this. So anything that I can use grapefruit juice in is a win for me. So this one is super simple. We're just going to build it straight into kind of a reasonably small highball glass. This one is 285 ml, and we're going to give it a little salt rim to start. So just some grapefruit around the edge, and I'll dab this in here. Personally, I like it quite rustic. You can obviously neaten that up if you like. And then we're going to go in a full 2 measures, 60 ml of our PUNT E MES, which does mean 1.5, but this time we're going to go 2. Then I'm going to fill it up with ice, and I have my fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. This does have a few little seeds and things in there, so I'm just going to strain it here as I pour it in. Making a bit of a mess, but that's all right. Now I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir and then finish it off with a nice big wedge of grapefruit. And there we have an Italian Greyhound. super bright and fresh, really bitter obviously, but the salt does kind of help take the edge off both the bitterness of the grapefruit and the PUNT E MES. You can obviously add a little bit of sugar if you prefer it a bit sweeter. It will depend on your grapefruits if it's fresh. But overall, I think that is definitely something to get you woken up in the morning, which I obviously need today. So there we have an Italian Greyhound. So now you know. So last but not least, I thought I would do a little one that's just kind of my own creation. So because you get a lot of kind of almost Christmas spice and orange in here, I thought it would actually go really nicely with some applejack, so a little apple brandy situation, and then also some apricot liqueur for sort of a, I guess, apple pie Manhattan kind of vibe is what I'm going for here. I haven't tried this yet, so come along with me and we'll find out if it works. Get my little mixing glass out the freezer, and then we're gonna go in with 40 mils of the applejack. $20 mils of PUNT E MES, our Italian hero for the day, and then my little cheater bottle of apricot brandy, 15 mils of that. And then to really underline all of that spice, a couple of dashes of Angostura. And let's see if I'm crazy or if this works. Oh yeah, that's really good, like kind of like, yeah, really fruity, juicy Manhattan sort of vibes. Go in with a little block to stir. Because it's a big block, I only really need one because it'll melt quite slowly in here, as opposed to cubes of ice. And then I think to freshen everything up for this one, I'm gonna go a little lemon twist. I love that every bar always has like 5 million peelers, but only one good one, and it's always the good one that goes missing. So let's try this one again. Go a little bit better. So I'm just going to do a nice simple Nick and Nora for this. Spritz my little lemon peel over the top, and then slide it on the edge here. Super fun, really like juicy and fruity, but obviously the PUNT E MES and the Angostura give it that nice kind of more bitter finish that you like in sort of dark digestif style cocktails. I reckon I would have that for dessert any day of the week. Cara's, I'm not sure what to call this, fruity Manhattan. So now you know. So there we have 3 quite different, quite unique ways of using some PUNT E MES. Hopefully that'll help you get through a bottle of it if you've got one languishing in your fridge. PUNT E MES. So now you know.